All right, so today I have with me Andrew Lopez of Elevated Shorts, and we're going to talk about video and how video impacts with branding, right? So, the first question I have for Andrew today is what is the difference between long form and short form videos?
Bridget, thank you so much for having me here with you. Love all the stuff you have going on. Pleasure to be here with you. And I love video. Video is everything. My business, Elevated Shorts. So you can kind of get an idea of where I'll go on this question. Short term and long term, I know the definition changes on short term. For me, and what I deem short term is anything under 3 minutes. With the interview shows that I do and all the content that I help create for business owners, I stick under the 3 minute mark. Some people think short form is for Instagram, less than 60 seconds. But for me, in the question, I'm anything under 3 minutes. So that's the world that I live in with Elevated Shorts. Anything longer than 3 minutes, it just depends. There's podcasters out there, right? Which much love to the podcasters, but that could be the same thing. So long form could be anything over 5, anything over 10. For me, I always say long form is anything over really 10. So there's that weird kind of buffer between the 3 and the 10 for me. But it just depends on what you're going for. Whatever you're doing with your brand, whatever you're doing with your company, it depends on what the message is. So if you are someone who interviews people like you and I, and you are getting more in depth, then the long form is the way to go. But if you're just talking about simple tips or simple branding things or whatever it is, I always prefer to stay on the short. Our attention spans right now are always kind of tough. I know we're at home, we're working from home, we can
Mm-hmm.
accomplish so much more. But when we're scrolling LinkedIn or we're scrolling Instagram, we just kind of want to be hit and kind of left with something to remember instead of trying to remember a long form video. So I live in the short term video world. Out of the two, it's what I prefer, and it's what I think a lot of people prefer now. I relate it to movies. I'm a big film guy, but I'll be honest, I prefer TV series because I can take the bite-sized episodes as I want instead of
Mm-hmm.
committing to a 2.5 hour movie. So it's all preference. But again, yeah, I live in that less than 3 minute world.
I think you totally hit the nail on the head there with the attention span of like where we are today. I definitely find myself more drawn to the 3 minute or under type of video clips. And sometimes I can't even get through 30 seconds of a 3 minute clip between, text message, emails, whatever that's going on in your family and your house because we're all working from home. So yeah, I agree with the shorter the better. But I now understand too what your point is about the brand message, right? Depending on like what you're trying to say, what kind of message you're trying to get across. But I think there's also like kind of that hybrid approach, right? Like we talked about, like a lot of people will do these longer filming like episodes, right? And then they clip them into those short, small, bite-sized pieces. So that way it's easier to digest for people. And then at the same time, if something is interesting enough, you're going to take out that dedicated 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever to watch the full clip. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Oh, absolutely. Or you can pair the two. So where a good model, and you can use Gary Vee's content model, which is probably one of the greatest things that hit us in the last several years, is take a speech, for example. You're giving a speech somewhere and you're having a videographer or someone record the hour-long speech. This is something I used to do before COVID, is I would capture a speech and I would have 60 minutes of just long video. But then I would go back and I would make a bunch of I can make 61 minute segments. So I have 60 pieces of content, but I can go even further and I can take those 60 and take 15 seconds. So then I can have 4 out of each minute. So you can have an endless amount of content. So yes, you're wearing the same thing. It's from the same presentation, but the message and the conversations that you can start around that micro content is endless. And you can have a year's worth of content and conversation starters off of one 60-minute interview or one 60-minute speech that's recorded. So it's pairing the two. As you said, it's kind of one of those things where you can do that and it can be just as powerful from a brand or even message standpoint.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that we should schedule something. I think that sounds like a great idea. Do it all in one shot and then have it done for the year or the quarter. I like to think in quarters. That's kind of how my short term mind works. Film something for a client or myself for my own business, and then like utilize that content for the entire quarter. So much easier than trying to figure out what you're going to do week by week.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Love that.